Close on the heels of Dalit protests in Mumbai and Una in Gujarat came BJP leader Daya Shankar Singh's derogatory comments against BSP Supremo Mayawati, over which the parliament saw major uproar, and following which there were massive protests by BSP workers yesterday in Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. There seems to be a massive Dalit backlash against the BJP over what is alleged to be its anti-Dalit politics throughout the country, at least from three major locations. This is very much building up to be a sort of a Mohan Bhagwat-like moment for the Bharatiya Janata Party in the run-up to the assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh. In the discussion with me today is my colleague Akash. Akash, is this essentially turning out to be the BJP's Mohan Bhagwat moment in Uttar Pradesh?
Truly, because if you look at what happened in Bihar during the elections, BJP was still doing better, or was rather well off than rest of the parties before Mohan Bhagwat made his comments that how the reservation policy needs to be reviewed. And if you would remember, then at that point in time, even many BJP leaders had said, though not openly, but they did say that yes, this could hurt them in electorally. And this is what happened, and this is what eventually happened. So similarly, Mayawati, you look at it that Mayawati is not coming out of her shell in that sense, and she was not started her election campaign this time around. And BJP at that right moment, Daya Shankar Singh makes this ridiculous comment, and suddenly you see the entire Dalit fraternity, the entire class rising up and saying that this was wrong, and everyone, including Arun Jaitley, though condemned it, but the damage was already done. And now I'm sure that BJP will feel the heat when it comes to the 2017 elections.
Akash, interestingly, BJP still lives in denial over the reason as to why it lost Bihar. Amit Shah recently gave an interview to Patrick French in which he said that nobody actually knows why parties lose or win elections. So you cannot say for sure that Mohan Bhagwat's reservation comment led to our defeat in Bihar. Do you think it is living in a sort of a denial, or it is, or this time around as well, or it is conscious that this time it's a big snowball and it's going to hit them hard?
It will certainly, Charu, because if you look at Punjab has the highest Dalit population in this country. And suddenly, if Mayawati pushes hard and the whole Dalit vote bank consolidates and backs Mayawati, it might have a huge impact on BJP or Akali
Punjab as well. So it's not just Uttar Pradesh, there could be repercussions in
Punjab as well. Because Punjab has highest population of Dalits. So certainly Mayawati, who has stakes in Punjab, would take this forward and ensure that all the Dalits, the entire Dalit vote bank stands by her. And BJP has given them the fodder, has given Mayawati the fodder, and now she'll go all guns blazing, and she will target BJP for this, and they'll repent later, whether Amit Shah accepts it or not. That electorally they did similarly in Bihar, where they lost primarily because of this comment that suddenly, because if you look at Bihar politics, then it also revolves around caste equations, and suddenly a comment like this, and it could change the entire game in that sense, and which eventually happened.
Okay, Akash, essentially three Dalit protests have converged at this point of time. One was already taking place in Una following the beating, following the attack on Dalit, a group of Dalits who were caught with cow skin. We saw widespread, and probably those were voluntary sort of protests. There were attempts by some Dalit protesters to commit suicide. Then we heard the news of them carrying carcasses of cows to district collector's office and dumping them and saying, now inka antim sanskar karo. In Mumbai, over the destruction of the Ambedkar Bhavan, we saw those pictures of massive protests, flyovers filled with crowds of people who were protesting the destruction of the Ambedkar Bhavan. And then comes this event in Uttar Pradesh. Is there a synergy between all these three, and is it building up?
Yeah, because if you look at all these cow protection groups, these vigilantes, and the way they're carrying out this mob justice, in that sense that someone has to skin the dead cow. So, if they don't want the dead cow to be skinned, then BJP should come up with a strategy, or should come up with a plan that what do they need to do with these dead cows, and what happens to all those families. At this point in time, and Sainath has also raised this earlier, that this whole cow protection is also leading to a great amount of rural distress because now people can't sell off because people can't sell off their cows anymore because there are no buyers for them. So what happens? And poor families, how do they sustain a dead cow in that sense? The cow which has no productivity. So what do you do with those cows? And then in that scenario, you have these groups working here, and then till now we've only seen Muslims facing the heat of BJP's, whatever be their comments or whatever they've said. But now it is also getting on to Dalits, and it started with Rohit Vemula, I would say. But BSP, it was not that active during Rohit Vemula's protest. But suddenly, this whole cow protection thing has given BSP or even other Dalit politics in that sense, it has given them that ammunition to attack this government and say that enough is enough, and we would not take this lying down.
Akash, is there a divide in Dalit and Muslim politics on this issue of this backlash against this Gauraksha politics? We didn't see such big movements across the country after Muhammad Akhlaq was killed, and in quick succession, other Muslims also were attacked in other parts of the country on suspicions of having carried.
If you look at the statements that Yogi Adityanath made, that Muslim women should be pulled out of their graves and raped. Why didn't we have this kind of backlash back then? So it also has to do with Muslim politics, that they don't have a leader in that sense and they're not together. If they would have hit the streets and did what Dalits did, then BJP certainly would have heard them. But you see that, there are stray incidents. Suddenly someone wants to support Akhlaq, someone wants to say, but they're only giving TV, they're just appealing or making those comments on TV. And rest they're not doing anything. As it could be I don't know how many politicians really visited Akhlaq's family in that sense. And did they back it up with other visits? No, nothing happened. And even similar, Sadhvi,
Niranjan Jyoti.
Has been making obnoxious statements. But Prime Minister is letting all this happen. And, interestingly, he is in UP today to inaugurate AIMS and plus this fertilizer factory as well. And he hasn't made any statements there. Also about Dalit, either about Dalit atrocities that are happening. So this silence, I don't know why the Prime Minister, when he comes back to India, gets in this silent mode and evades all these important questions that he should be answering. And he should reach out to these youth who are running these cow vigilante groups and tell them that this is not acceptable, and might be they'll listen to him, and this could be some sort of damage control for BJP.
Meanwhile, Akash, the RSS has come out with its first statement on at least one of these three protests, and it has chosen specifically the Una protests, the Gujarat protests on the back of the Una incident, and it has said that it has expressed regret. And it has expressed regret that these people were attacked. But interestingly, the press release that RSS has put out, at least on two occasions, or maybe on one or more occasions throughout that press release, the RSS says, "हमारे समाज के लोगों के साथ ये हो रहा है, इसका हमें खेद है." Essentially saying that these were part of the Hindu society, and it is regrettable that such action has been perpetrated against members of the Hindu society. Harping on a very old position that they have taken, that the Dalits are they are a part of the larger Hindu society, and true. Hindu society is not divided. Let us not divide them. But this continuous harping on this phrase, "Hamare samaj ke log, hamare samaj ke log," is there a deliberate strategy also behind this? Does this say that the RSS is taking a clear stand also in the middle of all this heat?
No, it doesn't surprise me with what RSS has said. Yes, they do consider Dalits as part of that whole Hindu society, but they also have a place defined for them in that Hindu society. But as far as Muslims are concerned, they have made their intentions clear that it has to be a Hindu Rashtra, and Muslims have no position in this, have no place in this country. And interestingly, why I see these statements by RSS, because if you look at this, that Gujarat goes to elections next year or early 2018. And there is already Hardik Patel has been breathing down their neck in that sense, that there is a whole Patel agitation. And then on top of this now, the whole Una incident. So they are on a very shaky ground in that sense that like they've been in power for almost 15 years now, and now suddenly they see that they're losing Gujarat, so they have to issue these statements.
Kejriwal is also making repeated
Yeah.
trips to Gujarat.
Yeah. Everyone, like whatever might be, you call it a photo op opportunity or whatever, but they would go there because they sense that BJP is somehow vulnerable at this point, and this is the right time to exploit it. If they can exploit this whole Dalit sentiment in Gujarat, then we could see a change of government, or we can see Congress coming back, or even Aam Aadmi Party making any sort of impact.
Alright, so the assembly polls in the two crucial states where this movement is going to have an impact, Uttar Pradesh and Punjab, they are still some distance away. The terms of both these assemblies runs out next year, so they are at least a couple of months away, even if the elections are held later this year. So it remains to be seen whether the Dalit movement will be able to hold on to these protests and carry on the heat that has been generated till the time the assembly elections are held. But what is clear as of now, that it is definitely going to have some impact, some definitive impact on the Uttar Pradesh. Only if not because of other factors, only because of it has revived the BSP cadre in Uttar Pradesh. That's all we have for you in this discussion. Thank you for tuning in.